This week's episode of Greetings from Wonderland is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/Storybrooke. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Again, that link is audibletrial.com/Storybrooke. Greetings from Wonderland. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Annemarie DeSimone.
And this is our first live on the internet hangout where we'll talk with a whole bunch of people about Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. How are you doing, Annemarie?
I'm overwhelmed, but I'm good.
Yeah, I know. There's so many people here, right?
There's lots of people. I feel like I'm being watched.
Our studio has been invaded. Dun, 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 dun. But we'll get to introducing them in a second. We did want to mention, though, since this will be our last Wonderland podcast, we had a separate feed for that and stuff. We are going to be switching over to doing a new podcast on Saturday nights based on the show that's coming up this fall on Fox called Gotham, about the early days of Commissioner Gordon and the Penguin and Catwoman and all those characters, and even little bitty Bruce Wayne. And we're going to start that in a couple weeks. We don't have the website set up yet or anything, but if you want updates as to when that's going live, and over the summer, we're going to be doing a lot of analysis of some of the more classic Batman stories.
This is also known as we're going to teach Annemarie about Batman.
Exactly. But, every episode...
I like to podcast, sure, I'll do it. I don't know anything about Batman.
Well, it's kind of the same thing as Once, because
I marathoned 10 episodes and then said yes, let's do a podcast about this.
But I mean, you're more into like
the pretty
kind of dramatic soap opera-y kind of shows. I'm more into kind of like sci-fi fantasy stuff. So it was a good mix. And with Gotham, I hate procedurals,
and I love them.
And you don't know a lot about Batman, and I do, so it works out. But yeah, you can follow @Legends of Gotham on Twitter for more information about that. And let's see. Okay, I guess we should go ahead and introduce our guest. If you want to start, other Annemarie.
Other Annemarie.
Hi, I'm Annemarie, and I'm on Twitter at N_Annlee.
Next, I won't say your name because you're supposed to say it.
Hi, I'm Amy. Follow me at Amy1102.
Excellent. Okay, Bobby?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Bobby. I'm on the podcast. You call me Bobby from Brainton. Twitter, Inevitable Hawke.
Yeah, basically, if you've ever listened to either of our shows, Bobby usually leads it off with the voicemail. So, next?
Wynn.
That would be Daniel, right?
Oh, Daniel. I can't read.
Is Daniel Okay.
I'm Daniel J. Lewis from oncepodcast.com and wonderlandpodcast.com.
Excellent. And next? Wynn.
I think we're just going to have to call them out. Wynn?
All right. Hi, I'm Wynn, in case you hadn't heard. Anyway, you can find me at my website or on Twitter at wynnmercere.com.
Okay, next. Hope.
Oh, I'm like last in the picture, so hi, I'm Hope from Hope of All Trades podcast, and you can find me at Hope Mullinax.
Excellent. And next would be Jeff.
And Colleen?
Jeff, and I don't know if Colleen made it yet.
Yeah, no, she's here. My name is still Jeff Roney, and this is
Colleen Roney.
And you can reach us at OUAT Podcast on Twitter. Thanks for doing this, guys.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for joining us. And next.
I'm Amara. You can follow me at Twitter at sage_of_earth.
All right.
Excellent. Okay. Well.
Welcome. Thank you,
panel, for joining us for this live broadcast. Wait,
Crazy.
There might be people watching this. I just got really.
Hello, if anyone's watching us.
Don't wave at them. They'll know where.
Okay.
I'll leave it to
Okay.
you, Annemarie.
Okay. Now, generally, the way we start these episodes is we do a rhyming episode summary. Since there's no episode this week because it's canceled,
Does.
some people got a little bothered with us because we hit that joke a lot last week,
No.
and it was all in good fun.
Of course.
But we're going to start off with the rhyming episode summary. If you could take it
All
away, Annemarie.
When first we meet Alice, she's a curious girl, fresh back home from a curious world. No one believes the tales that she tells about the strange land through the hole which she fell. She returns there years later to prove she was right, and on the way, she learns how to fight. She steals the Knave's heart and meets her true genie. Red Queen and Jafar want to change magic's rules. 3 magic lamps are their chosen tools. One contains Cyrus, so Alice is sore. She goes back to Wonderland one time more. Cheshire and fairies, Carpenter and Nix. Jabber is scary, and the game is all fixed. Turns out Red Queen's decent, she just wants Will back. But Jafar isn't stopping down his dark track. Amara returns, did anyone catch when? To make sure her sons are absolved of their sins. Sometimes inconsistent, but always in brand. It's time to wrap up Once Wonderland!
The longest rhyming intro ever.
And I did it great!
That was
You
wonderful.
did. You nailed it.
That
You
doesn't
nailed it.
happen. Yay. Okay.
Well, it was the audience that did it.
It was the pressure. I felt like I was back on stage again.
Okay, well, we're going to start off, before we get into a discussion about the series as a whole, we thought, trivia. Trivia's always fun. And you know what? I'm going to put this paper down and refill my magic juice, and Annemarie is going to run this thing. So-
Okay. All right. You answer the trivia. Please say your name. So whoever I hear first will get called on to answer the trivia. Okay. These are in no order.
Oh, by the way, the winner of this contest wins the title of winner of this contest.
Yeah!
Yes.
Okay. Some of them will be hard. Some of them will be easy. All right. Hope.
That's not me! Me, sorry!
Sorry.
Poor Hope.
What shape is the letter that Cyrus sends Alice?
Okay, bye.
Oh.
Sorry,
Bobby,
little brother.
Bobby, what you got?
a swan.
Oh, so close. So close.
Are you asking the shape it was folded into or the shape when it was unfolded?
The shape it was folded into, yes.
Write a letter is
A
usually
square.
a
It was an origami crane.
You know what? Since
Oh, I said crane.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Please,
Wait,
that was
Hope.
close.
Crane. See, I followed the rules.
you, okay, well, Bobby said swan.
He said swan.
Which is pretty
I knew
close.
Okay, I'm giving it
Especially
to
in
Bobby.
paper.
I'm giving it to
That's not
Bobby.
I
close
guess I'm
enough.
acting as the judge in this.
Oh,
so.
good grief. Now we're in trouble.
I just like how me and Daniel are both like, square.
Okay.
By the way, since I am the judge, my PayPal address is... No, I'm just kidding.
All right, here's an easy one. What does Cyrus keep doing when they are in Storybrooke?
Amy,
Amy?
flick the light switch on and off in every single room.
All the time.
And you're
Amy
keeping,
for the win.
you're keeping a tally,
I'm
right?
attempting to keep a tally.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take a nap. I'll be back.
Oh, hush. Okay. Who was originally cast as the White Rabbit?
Bobby.
Colleen.
Oh, I
Pee-wee
think I heard Bobby first.
I think it was Bobby.
Oh,
yeah.
Fine.
So
Pee Wee Herman.
Bobby?
Paul Rubens. Paul Rubens.
All right.
One thing I was really disappointed about.
I
was
know.
I love me
Wow.
some Pee Wee Herman.
I, however, was thrilled when it wasn't him. Okay. There are 2 doors that are protecting the Well of Wonders. Which door did they have to go through?
Daniel,
Annemarie.
Go ahead, Daniel.
it's the door. Answering this question is giving away the riddle, but it is the door that he says does lead. Does.
You are
You know what?
overthinking it.
Yeah, overthinking.
My answer
It was
is
the one
much
on the
easier.
right.
There you go.
Sometimes simple is best.
Exactly. I'm like, I couldn't recite a riddle. Okay. Okay. What is Alice's half-sister's name?
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Adeline?
I heard somebody, but I don't know who was.
Me, I think I
Yes.
Madeline? I'm Madeline. I'm not sure.
Nope. Anyone else?
Daniel.
3. Go ahead, Daniel.
Melanie?
Oh, so close. Millie.
Yes.
Millie.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
It started with an M, so anyone who said it with an M should have it count.
All right. What was the fairy's name that had to take them across the lake?
I know.
Hope.
Silver.
I think I heard. Oh,
Hope.
Silver Mist.
I,
I'll give it to you both because you both got it right.
Yeah,
This is how we're going to score.
You know what? Has anyone not got a point yet?
Yes, I think. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. I have points for Bobby, Amy, Daniel, Hope, and Wynn.
Okay.
What?
Give everyone else 1 point just to even it out.
Yay!
Everybody has
Yay.
points.
Everyone's
It's like starting at 0. Okay. What is the magical item that they were getting from the disco opium den?
Which one?
Which time?
The first time.
What's that?
Sorry.
Amy,
Annemarie.
I heard Annemarie.
The knot. The forget-me-not.
Yes.
I thought it was a lost and found.
That was the second time.
With the Bandersnatch, which is a fun word to say.
Yes, I tried to come up with a question about that, but it just wasn't working. Where does Alice get her purple outfit?
Bobby.
Annemarie.
Daniel.
Go ahead, Bobby.
The clothes horse.
I love the
This
quiz.
is the name that's for the coffee horse.
I wanted the coffee horse.
Yeah, I was talking to Bobby earlier. He did the full
That's
series
right, you did
rewatch.
this.
So
He knows my trivias.
he's the favorite to win in Vegas.
Okay. Where was the bottle buried?
Bobby.
Bobby?
It was by the Tower of Tiger Topiary. Oh, God. It was supposed to be under the towering tum-tum tree, but it wasn't. That was a falsehood. I can't remember exactly where it was, though, now. Yeah.
Anybody else want to try?
Amy,
Amy?
it was under the dandelion tree. I just rewatched that episode, so.
So did I can't remember.
Okay. Where does the knave keep his heart in Storybrooke?
Daniel.
Annemarie.
Daniel?
Behind the Queen's picture in his apartment.
Yes.
With some darts in it.
With some darts.
The most unobvious place in the world.
Exactly. Who gets in a wall?
It was the Queen dartboard.
Exactly.
Well, he was like, if someone who has an intimate knowledge of my past comes here looking for my heart, they need to know where to find it.
How many episodes were originally ordered of Wonderland?
Who?
Daniel.
Colleen.
Oh? Question mark?
22 or 21?
No, Annemarie.
Colleen.
Anne-Marie?
8.
Daniel.
Colleen.
Holly?
Amy.
Amy? I was like, I don't have a Holly.
I think it was Daniel.
Okay, Daniel?
11.
No.
Colleen.
Colleen?
13.
Yes!
Yay!
Oh.
13 were ordered. 13 were delivered.
That was hard fought.
That was
Tense.
Technically,
Well,
we
they
could have
kept
said I wanted
asking
to started counting. We would have got it eventually.
Where does Alice store her wishes?
Amy.
Amy?
The heel of her boot.
Oh, yeah.
In that trap door thingy.
Secret compartment.
What
Inner
is the
shoe.
white rabbit's first name?
Hope!
Annemarie.
Hope.
It's Percy, which is adorable.
We see 2 storybook people in the first episode.
Daniel.
One of them.
Annemarie.
See, that's switching up the question. One of them is related to one of our main cast members.
Amy.
Annemarie.
Daniel.
Amy.
Cinderella and Grumpy, or Leroy and Ashley, however.
Yes, but who were they related? Who was the one related to?
Cinderella was related to Anastasia as her stepsister.
Yes.
Was that ever confirmed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
When she was being tortured.
I think it was like the next to last episode. or
Yeah.
something
They
like
didn't
that.
actually say her name, but it
Yeah.
was.
They said that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It was implied, but never clarified.
Yes.
All right. Last but certainly not least, and I won't lie, I have no idea who's winning.
We're all winners.
How did Anastasia and Will get to Wonderland?
Daniel.
Daniel?
Through the mirror.
Through the looking glass.
Bonus point. Who did they get the looking glass from?
Daniel.
Daniel. That was coming to you.
Why did
Stole
you
it
give
from
him looking
Maleficent.
glass? This whole story could have been avoided if you had not given them that magical talisman.
I wasn't sure if I was getting that question again. Maleficent. Will stole it from Maleficent.
Yes. Yay! Okay, well that was just for fun because I lost track of who was one.
You
Mr.
lost
Gold Shop.
It's who's reading book is it anyway? Where the
I would
don't
not
matter.
be surprised.
Okay, so since I'm the judge, I guess I have to pick
You
a
have
winner.
to pick a winner.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with what someone had said earlier. All of us. All of us.
Because anything is possible in
I
Wonderland.
was just about to say this is
Yes, Daniel.
softball. Everybody's a winner. We all get a ribbon and a certificate.
It's who signed us in anyway, where the points don't matter.
Exactly.
I just assign you points and winner.
Except
Hope you and I are on the
for
same
the
wavelength.
grudges you hold in your heart for years to come. Besides that, they don't matter. Okay,
You don't
so
want to turn green, though.
yeah, this is very
I'm
true.
wearing green.
Oh, no, she's wicked. All right, well, I
Wrong
guess
show.
Uh-oh.
Kinda.
for now. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have any of this information. Okay, so I guess generally the way I start off the main discussion, I'm looking over here because this is where I see you, but this is where the camera is. It's weird. Okay, but generally what I do is I ask people, what their general impression was of the episode. Since we're talking the series in general, I'll go ahead and ask that question about the series in general. Daniel, I guess I'll go ahead and start with you because, woe upon me, I haven't been keeping up with your Wonderland coverage. So I'm kind of wondering, what did you think about the series overall?
Well, when it first started out, we had already committed to do 2 separate podcasts about the series before it even launched. So
Yeah, because you were doing the one just for yourselves and then the one for network, right?
yeah, we did 3 pre-episodes total, even before the show launched, of between the 2 different podcasts, TV Talk and then our own network. And so we were committed to it. But once the show actually started with that first episode, or no, it was the second episode, I thought, do I really want to stick through with this? I committed to it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah. But then there have been some great episodes. Like my favorite, I think, was the one with Cora. And it was really cool to see them tie in with the Once Upon a Time story in certain ways without having to require us to watch Once Upon a Time in order to enjoy Wonderland. I think the timing of the series was poorly chosen. I think they should have stuck with what they originally were going to do, airing it during the hiatus. But beautiful ending, a really fun story that doesn't take itself too seriously. And that's what made it, I think, a lot of fun, because as a whole, it could do all of these crazy things, like the clothes horse and all of this other stuff.
Whimsical.
Yeah.
Whimsical stuff.
Yeah, very whimsical. So it was a lot of fun. And honestly, I am glad it was only 1 season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. They got the chance to tell a complete story, which was good. Definitely. One thing I'll ask you about, Daniel, and one thing we kind of picked up on too, it felt like after they came back from the break that it was a completely different show. We kind of theorized that they realized that fans were really uneven on it, and they made the adjustments. What do you think about that theory?
Yeah, some of that, but with the timing of recording episodes, that might not have actually worked out that way, although they may have been responding to some of the feedback from the first couple episodes.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. That's what we were thinking. But yeah, it just felt like a different show when it came back, for the better, obviously.
Well, think about with Once Upon a Time's first season as well. It was the last few episodes that were really good, because then they're starting to wrap up things instead of just filling it with storyline. They're tying things together, and that's what I think these final episodes did as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Amy, same question. Overall, what did you think of the series?
I thought it was good. I mean, I had kind of high expectations for it in the beginning, but they kind of went down after a while. It actually reminded me of a book series that I read that is actually an Alice in Wonderland based book. It's called The Looking Glass Wars. It's basically about Alice. She is from Wonderland. She was born in Wonderland. She was the child of the white king and queen.
Oh.
And she ends up in the real world, and she's saying that, I'm from Wonderland, I don't belong here, and no one believed her. So she wasn't sent to a sane asylum or anything, but the same premise was basically the same part of the story. So, but I thought it was good. good parts, bad parts. I kind of wanted to like Alice and Cyrus, but it was hard for me to in the beginning. In the end, I kind of started to like them, but in the beginning, it kind of, just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
But like you guys, it was like every other episode that was probably the best episode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I didn't usually, if I really like a TV episode, I keep thinking about it after, But
Mhm.
those I just kept forgetting about them, and so it kind of,
The recap in the beginning was really helpful every week, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, very helpful. And for this, I had to go back and rewatch some episodes just to remind myself what was going on.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
but overall,
hey, sorry to interrupt you, but I have the hangout page loaded over here, and it just changed the thumbnail, and it has you like this with your eyes rolled up. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Wait
sorry,
to
go ahead.
interrupt for that.
well, now I'm embarrassed. So
Don't be. It's entertaining.
No, it's fine. It's just for the thumbnail. It'll change again in a minute.
okay, great.
It'll be somebody doing
Hold
something
on.
like this.
Wait a second. Print screen. Go ahead.
Great. Now I'm scared. But at the end, I thought the ending was good. I thought it ended the way it should. I'm glad there was at least an ending because they could have left us with a big cliffhanger. My also big beef was why did we not see more of the Cheshire Cat?
Oh,
Yes.
Him in one episode, and I
There's all these little nodding heads. I like. Everybody's like, yes,
and I could have seen him used so much more, like as part of Jafar's weird zombie army or something.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I just could have seen him more useful, and was kind of sad that he was only in the one episode in the one scene for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was kind of disappointed by the Cheshire Cat stuff too, just because, well, they did like this weird camera angle where they were showing you the fight between him and Alice from the Cheshire Cat's perspective, which I thought kind of took away all the mystery of the character, just seeing from his perspective. It's like a cinematography thing.
Yeah.
But that kind of bothered me a little bit. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny,
Colleen.
Hope.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Well, I had a lot of high expectations for Wonderland, mainly because Jefferson is my favorite character. And I've always loved Wonderland. So my first big hit is when I found out that he wasn't actually going to be in the show. I was a bit upset by that because I was hoping to get more of his backstory because I love him. And but I mean, it did a lot of what I thought it was going to do. It had a slow start and it built really well, especially in the second half. So the beginning was just, it was okay, and it had a lot of shining points because pretty much the Knave carried it through the entire time, all the way to the second half. And it was really awkward that it was Alice in Wonderland. I took on it, and I liked the Knave and the Red Queen more than Alice and Cyrus. But they actually
Isn't that always the way? I mean, in Once Proper, I think everyone pretty much likes Rumpelstiltskin the best of all, more or less.
No, this is just you.
Or the Evil Queen. Or the evil. But go ahead, Hope. Sorry.
Oh no, it's alright. What was I saying? I don't remember. But there's just little things that I was hoping to see more of. Like if we couldn't have the Mad Hatter, I was hoping to see the March Hare, so we'd still have that half the Mad Tea Party. But I think there was a lot of things like that. Wow, like I think I love the introduction of the Jabberwocky. I really want to see her with Rumpel and Regina because she would make them cry in 5 seconds. But and there's a lot of things where they did really well, and I'm really happy to get the Knave on the main show, and I can't wait to see him on the main show because he's amazing.
No, I'll ask you this, Hope. I know towards the end you were saying on Twitter and
you misquoted me in your podcast, sir.
Did I? Okay, first let's correct the misquoting. What was the misquoting?
You said that I said that Dirty Little Secrets was the best episode in the Once universe. I said it was up there probably in the top 10.
Okay.
It's nowhere close to being the best episode.
Reading isn't his specialty.
Well,
Apparently.
I was
That's why you do the
testing
rhymes every week.
He writes them, I read them.
I was testing to see if you were still listening to the podcast. That's all. No, but, see, I had almost thought you had said somewhere along the way that you kind of were at a certain point were preferring Wonderland to Once Proper as far as this season's concerned. Was that true, or was I completely off base?
No, at a few points, yeah. There's a few times where, but I've also just been highly disappointed with the Oz lately. My 2-year theory ended up not happening, and so I was really kind of bummed with that, and I've kind of fallen into it with once where I'm just like, okay, this is kind of just happening now, but what's going on in Wonderland? And I think that's kind of been a rough spot in the fandom. I mean, look at Rebecca over at Operation Cobra. She ended her podcast. I mean, I think...
Yeah, which is a shame. It was a great podcast.
I know. I really miss Rebecca. We love you, Rebecca. We love you.
We do. We do.
But, I mean, there were points that I think they're doing better in Wonderland than they were doing in the main show. Like, I felt like they were really going there and going for the really dark stuff before we got Zelena, and now Zelena's pushing it there. So I think they were a little bit... And I think a lot of that was Jane Espenson's writing over Adam and Eddie's writing, because that's a little bit more up her alley.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's see here. Jeff/Colleen, overall thoughts.
I'll let Colleen go first.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. We'd seen snippets of the first episode, and we weren't even sure what we were gonna do with it. We knew we didn't want to do a podcast about it because that was just way too much time. But I thought, let's just watch it. We'll
tell
see.
me about it.
Well, we'll just see how it goes. And I have to say, I was not impressed with the first episode. I was not impressed with the second episode. And then I said, I'll give it one more shot. If I don't find anything that I really like, I'm out. Because I have a 3-episode rule. You don't catch me by the third episode, you're done. And third episode actually did kind of catch my attention. I said, okay, there's potential. And I kept watching it. Now, we didn't watch it religiously during the, normal regular airtime, but we did catch up with it and watch it, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was it had a lot of good elements. There were things that were not so great about it, like CGI was a little sorry, I mean that's just me, but
it was unbalanced throughout the series.
It was.
It really was like the first episode was all CGI, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Well, they blew
and it wasn't even that it was that. It was just not
bad.
good. There were elements that were really good CGI, and elements that were like, you guys do know this looks like you went back to a Commodore 64 to put this together, because that's kind of what I felt like.
Right.
But
I just have to say the appropriate joke there would be video toaster, but only video geeks are going to get it.
Right.
Gotcha.
Nice one.
Okay. And that's not good. But I liked it. I loved the character development that they had with the majority of the characters. I actually didn't even like the Red Queen at first. She really annoyed me, and then
you hated her.
But you know what? I absolutely started really liking her when I realized who she sounded like. She sounded like Grace Kelly. I closed my eyes once and I'm like, wait, what is Grace Kelly doing on? And I realized it was Grace Kelly. She sounded a lot like Grace Kelly. And then I started liking her character, and I love the backstory, and I thought that was really well done. The Knave is just the bomb. I mean, he is just, love him. And I'm a lostie, so I had to love Jafar. I had to he was...
Even with that hair?
Dude, even with the hair, there's still something about him that's pretty awesome. But I will say this, he was far more evil. I mean, he makes Regina Rumpel and even Cora look like, amateurs.
Yeah.
He was horrible. And the king, and there were just so many great points to it, and I thought it was really well done. I liked the fact that they, like you said, ended the story. They gave us a complete story, didn't leave us with a cliffhanger, and I do hope that we are going to see some of these other characters, including Jafar, because that would be a nice another baddie to bring into the Once world. Yeah. Especially now that he's a genie. So
that could be
kind of interesting. One of the things I really, really loved about it, and then I'll let Jeff talk for a little bit here, is I loved the fact that they did pull a lot of the elements, not from the Disney movie that everybody expected, that they actually pulled from the book, which is one of my favorite books of all time, is Alice in Wonderland. And so I love that they pulled elements from the actual book, from the real text, instead of making up stuff and watering it down. So,
really, besides little girl Alice, there really weren't any blatant references to the movie.
Exactly.
Just her costuming,
Even that wasn't even really close, because in the costume, I mean, her dress, she was, yes, the little girl one, but not, grown up or anything, which was, I like that they even pulled some of the stuff from the Tim Burton movie, which I also really enjoyed a lot. But then I love Johnny Depp too, so,
Well, I believe that was produced by Disney too, so they probably just had to make a call to another special effects office. Hey, can you send me those assets?
Yeah, really.
Okay, Jeff?
All right. I let her go first because she'll probably say more better things about it. I was a slow burn to it. I didn't really catch it, and I really tried. I love the Knave. I think Bad Blood was my favorite episode of all time. It was the most brutal, but it had some of the best hair on my arm standing up, emotional, great lines in, I think, the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did roll into it, and I do agree that half was off and half was like, okay, we have to really do better at this show.
Yeah.
And Jafar really didn't do it for me. The Red Queen started to grow on me. Alice really didn't. Cyrus didn't. But I really think that it was a bold move to do such a great, huge show like this. And so I like parts of it, honestly.
Yeah, and it definitely the second half of the season was much stronger than the first. Even like with me personally, I hated Jafar the first half of the season. Like I thought,
mustache
mustache twirly, kind of over the top. I didn't think he was doing a good job playing the part. Second half of the season, he got really sadistic, and I loved it because I like evil people. Go figure. Okay, let's see here. Wynn, what did you think of the series overall?
Well, when it started, I was a little bit concerned how they were going to meld together Wonderland, genies, and the Agrabah world, and the Victorian world. And it really didn't work for me for a long time. It seemed like they were just gluing all these different places together with bad CGI. But then the second half, it's like you said, it was a different show. I really loved it, and I thought it was a great introduction to the whole Knave's backstory for him to come over to Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And you're also a little in the camp that you were preferring Wonderland over the regular show, right?
Yes, mainly because of the pacing. Since they were in such a limited amount of episodes, they had to tell the story. Everything was really moving along, and I think sometimes Once has some filler episodes, so Wonderland was moving better for me.
Yeah, definitely. Although the pacing felt just a little bit off, like the last two episodes. Like it seemed like maybe it felt like
it missed a few scenes here and there.
Yeah, something. Okay, let's see. Who haven't I gotten yet?
Annemarie.
Annemarie, and let's go with Patty first.
Oh. When I first saw it, I felt it was slow, and I literally lost interest until the point the Knave got turned into a genie. Before that point, I got so bored where I'm like, never mind, I'll just stick with the main show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sad, since my family in general always loved Aladdin. They've always actually let me see every single Disney film based on Aladdin. So yes, I even at one point owned Return to Jafar and the 40 Thieves.
I like it.
Yeah, we also kind of came to that kind of.
We almost stopped up until that episode. We just kept going. Okay, one more week.
Yeah, the mid-season
one more week
finale.
Of the two.
we that's where we made our decision whether or not to keep doing a separate episode or just have Wonderland time.
Well, that and we crowdsourced. We're like, all right, should we keep doing this? And everybody's like, yes. So we're like, okay,
we'll do it.
If you're listening, sure. I guess we'll do it. And then it got good.
It was actually up to that point where I started my master's degree, where I didn't really have the time, but I did read like the summaries, and I felt, it's getting better and better as it go along. So, but I did feel like all around it did do a good progressive storyline, and these kind of shows it's all about the storylines. I mean, you could have bad CGI, but if you have it good enough where you can relate to the character, who cares what the CGI is?
Right.
But I think it was pretty good. I do like how I know Colleen mentioned that they pulled a lot of elements from Wonderland, but there were some elements of Aladdin too, especially with Amara and Jafar. And when you actually read the original and then you look at what they're doing, you're like, so this is where they pulled it from.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll just throw this out generally too before we get to Annemarie. Did anyone else feel like the Amara reveal that she was Cyrus's mom? Did it felt that they came up with that after they came up with the Amara character. It just felt just a little bit
thrown in there.
Yeah, thrown in there. Did anyone else feel that way?
I felt it was anticlimactic because I've been hearing rumors that, or not rumors, but theories that she was Cyrus's mom.
Mm-hmm.
So, to see it happen, I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't see that happen, you know. So.
Yeah.
I feel like the Amara we saw in the first part of the series was totally different than the Amara we saw in the second part of the series.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, like in the first part, she was all like totally evil, like up on par with Jafar, and then all of a sudden, like totally not.
Or was she evil, or was she playing Jafar to save her sons?
She was killing shopmakers in front of
She
Jafar.
was being a mommy.
But wouldn't a mommy do anything to save her sons?
It just seemed like two different characters.
But why would you like? I still don't understand how she got out of the staff because it doesn't make sense.
Magic.
My theory is that it broke. Somehow it got thrown at a wall or something, and it broke, and she was free. That was my theory.
Cyrus was running around the corner, and it slipped out of his hand, and then all of a sudden, Amara was there.
Yes, exactly.
It's like when the staff is on Cyrus's back, and it's like a bad puppet, and it turns and like looks at Cyrus.
Anything is possible in Wonderland.
This is true. Anything is possible in Wonderland.
And you know what? I completely lied. We're not going to finish off with Annemarie because we forgot Bobby from Bradenton. And my voice just cracked. Bobby, what did you think?
To go against the grain, I actually liked the first part of the series.
Well, somebody had to, I guess.
Like as soon as I saw the 20-minute quote-unquote pilot, and then that Jane Espenson was the one creating the show, I was on board to the end as soon as I heard that. But with a few bumps in the road, I actually, especially on the second viewing, I don't know if it helped on the second viewing knowing what was coming. But it was
there for me. Like, because we watched most of the first half,
right? And it was better.
Yeah, it was a completely different experience. The moments that were uneven were a little more even,
and you sort of had a little allowances because you're like, that's not really that important.
I laughed less at Jafar.
Watching his hair do this.
But my two favorite episodes were definitely the first episode and the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
My own, anyway.
Well, they were good bookends.
Definitely. Okay, and we'll finish up the broad general overview, which has taken us a long time. Annemarie, what did you
There's
think?
a lot of us.
There is.
Well, everybody's talking about how they love the second part, and I definitely agree. So I was really annoyed when the Canadian broadcasting station dropped Wonderland, the second part, and it was like, oh my goodness, so now where am I going to go? So I luckily found it on one of the US channels that we get here.
Oh, that's
so I was able to finish it, but I had the same issues that Annemarie had with the Queen in the beginning. Like her lips were just really distracting me, and I don't know her as an actress, so I don't know how she is, and I don't know if it was the writing for her or her acting skills or something, but I could just not get on board with her. And I was also expecting more of like an evil queen type Regina or Cora or something, and she just didn't measure up to that. However, she was by the end, but in the beginning, that was one of the things that I was like, am I going to still watch this? But because I'm such a big One stan, I kind of just went through and just did it, and I'm happy that I stuck to it.
I think that's what we did too. We were just like, well, it's got to cross over at some point. We kind of have to be prepared for that. So,
but you know what? I will say, going back and watching the first few episodes, it's a bit more apparent when you go back and watch it that the Red Queen was putting on a facade.
It was
It was a means to an end, which makes it a little more forgivable. That she was really, really annoying.
Never bothered me.
She never bothered you?
Well, because I knew the Lewis Carroll quote where it was talking about the Red Queen having to be always cold and poised, opposed to Cora, or the Queen of Hearts, who was like passionate, and so like I knew from the beginning that she was going to be kind of cold and not as like out there as Cora. But to me, that made like when Anastasia come out, it made her moments more human, and I actually really appreciated that dichotomy between Red Queen and Anastasia.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right, well, I guess we'll get into our main topics. I will say we're planning on bringing in some people in Skype. Some people might be calling in, so we might have to interrupt you. But I'm just going to throw out some general points to everyone, and we can just discuss them. And if we said we were going to call you on Skype, might be a couple more minutes, but we're having a good conversation.
We're getting
so I hope
chatty.
you don't care. Let's see here. In general, I think we should probably all weigh in on the crossover character, which is a thing we were speculating about. The entire season.
This is me weighing in.
Michael Socha, the Knave. What do you guys think of that overall? And do you think he might bring any characters with him? And yay!
It had to be him.
What's that?
Love it.
I kind of hope Anastasia comes with her, with them, because
Yes.
it would be interesting to see her and Cinderella interact if they bring her back.
Yes, that was my thought.
Yeah, it almost seems that they do that. Oh, go ahead.
So far, it's only been Anastasia, the name that has been said. So there's a possibility that it's rather Anastasia's gonna get her axe off, literally, or get killed at some point and having some tragic something happen to her.
Again.
Or they've been separated because there has to be, or this is past Wonderland.
This is from Storybrooke to Wonderland. Like, he's coming back for, like, the television and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to hook it all up in Wonderland. That's how we'll do the crossover.
Yeah, but if he's coming back, I mean, you can't really now separate him from Anna either, because they just found each other again, and they seem to be all happy again. They're all, sitting next to each other at the wedding. So bringing the Knave over, I think because that was announced, I think they basically are keeping the fact that Anna might be coming over, because I think when it was announced that the Knave came, it wasn't sure if Anna was going to make it.
Right.
Yeah, or she might come in for like a guest appearance. Oh, go to Storybrooke. I'll see you when you get back, and just show up in 1 or 2 episodes or something.
Did they say he was going to be a series regular for season 7? Or 4?
They said series regular, but does that
regular? Okay. Because I had ideas, but that makes them not happen. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure I read an interview with Adam and Eddie where they said something along those lines too.
Remember.
One thing I was thinking, and this might be, if you haven't caught up on Once proper this week, this might be a bit of a spoiler, but since they're kind of exploring the idea of changing the past over there too, and that's the one thing Jafar didn't get to, maybe somehow by season's end, maybe she changes the past, which means that Once Upon a Time in Wonderland never happened at all. And maybe that's why Will's still running around with Robin Hood and his merry men. Thoughts?
Wow.
Like Bobby woke up when Bobby was in the shower in Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. It was all a dream.
Yeah. I hope not.
Yeah. I was just thinking that might be one way.
Didn't all 3 genies stop being genies in the first place, thus making it really, really hard to change the past? At least through that method?
Well, I don't know if I think it was farther back when they were turned into genies. Like, didn't they say it was like 100 years?
It was like
100
years.
Yeah, about 100 years.
Something.
Yeah.
It said many years.
I think at some point they did. I think they did say 100 at some point.
Yeah. But by the way, folks, for listeners of our podcast, we often reference magic juice. This is this week's magic juice. This is the magic juice. It looks disgusting, right?
It's coffee. It's almond milk. It's delicious.
It's coffee and almond milk. So, and that's
with
it.
magical powers.
Yes.
See, I just want to see Robin and Knave together again.
Yes, they had a really good interaction.
And that's going to be a little bit of a fallout. I don't think they're going to be friends right away.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting.
I don't think Robin and Will Scarlet in the original story were very chummy anyway. I mean, they were related, right? I think they were related.
Or half brothers or something like that.
Yeah.
Half brothers or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they had some sort of falling out, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's been forever. That was. Great.
But I can see Robin punching Will Scarlet if they ever, saw each other in Storybrooke. I can just see Robin not even saying anything, just walking up to him and sucker punching him or something.
Yeah. Knave would be the one that tells Robin that he looks like Macklemore. So. He does. Look at his haircut. He looks like I've been calling him Macklehood on my blog. So. You're never like. Next time you see Robin, when you're watching Once Time, you're going to just be like, oh my god, he's going to a thrift shop.
Macklemore if he shopped at Cabela's.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see here. Okay. So I think we've
established we're all pretty happy about that.
Okay, and this one I'll direct to someone specific, and hopefully it spills out into a big, broad conversation where I can kick back and take it easy. We'll start with Daniel. Daniel, we were advertised an epic love story at the beginning of the series. We kind of got two. Which was your favorite and why?
I really like the Alice and Cyrus story because of how it ended. And it ended so beautifully. In our podcast about the finale, we just kept using the words beautiful and appropriate over and over again to describe how everything ended. And especially just the wedding scene and the way that they talked about love in the series was very not normal for Hollywood because of some of the things that Will even said about love, that it's dirty, it's about fighting and making up and about laughter and about struggles and that kind of stuff that's not usually part of what we think of as happily ever after. But it was really neat to see them bring all of this out and in that wedding scene, the way that they made this so beautiful. So that's why I'm saying that's my favorite episode or my favorite love story in this because they stuck through, they were committed, whereas Will and Anastasia, they had their falling out, and they got back together. But I really like the Cyrus and Alice love story.
Okay, let's see. I'll go ahead and turn that question over to Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Bobby from Bradenton. What do you think?
My favorite love story was Will and Knave.
Will and Knave?
He is kind of egotistical, so I guess in a sense he did. Go ahead, Bobby.
I thought that the last scene where it showed their embrace was fitting because, in my opinion, the whole series was about the relationship between Will and Knave and about how it takes friends to help you through your journey. Even though they both lost love along the way, they were there for each other.
Who is he referring to again?
Will and Knave.
Will and
Anastasia.
I keep hearing Will and Knave, but I'm going, I don't remember him fighting with himself, but...
I said
he loves himself. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's Will and Anastasia, right?
It was quite a few years between Anastasia. I'm kidding. Let's see. No, I think the thing I always found interesting about it was Alice and Cyrus are more of the traditional fairy tale true love, and Will and Anastasia are more the real world loves. Like Daniel was saying, and Will said, love's complicated, love's messy, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was an interesting contrast to have in the show. What did you think, Amy?
I don't really know, actually. I mean, like I said, I wanted to like Alice and Cyrus, but I think Anastasia and the Knave kind of started becoming my favorite when I started seeing how their relationship kind of, happened. But and I kind of started liking Alice and Cyrus towards the end once you got to know Cyrus, because in the beginning you didn't really know who Cyrus was or how he became a genie. I wanted to see more of his background before I became, decided on, oh yes, they're the one true couple that I want together on, that I ship on the show. So I liked kind of like the Knave and Anastasia more, but I also, in a funny way, I kind of also like Percy and Mrs. Rabbit more too. I like
I didn't even think about throwing them out there.
They were good. I personally ship the White Rabbit and the Jabberwocky, but that's just me.
You just wanted a weird ship.
Jabber Rabbit is the name.
Jabbit. I ship the Jabbit.
I ship the Jabbit. All right, let's see here. Eeny, meeny, miny, Wynn. What did you think? What was your favorite romance?
Oh, definitely I'd have to go with the Knave and Anastasia. I really never saw any chemistry between Alice and Cyrus, and they were just kind of boring for me through most of the series.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with everyone who says the Knave and Anna, it was more like a real give and take, troublesome, rocky road relationship, and that made it more interesting for me.
And, I think, too, like, the main relationship that I found interest in throughout the entire thing, and I think we touched on this and some of our listeners touched on this last week, was the relationship between Will and Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
there you go.
It almost felt like it should have gotten romantic at some point. But
I actually thought they were going to make out there in the last
the end,
scene,
yeah.
like when they ran slow mo. Like I was like, what are they doing?
I almost wanted something to happen with them.
Just that little twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the best friends are in a way like a love of its own. Like I will kill a man if they get between me and my best friends because you know that the love between friends is just as strong as romantic love.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's the one love that I don't think it's emphasized enough, that you could love somebody who's just your friend and they could be like your sister or your brother, and that you would literally go out of your way to kill anybody who harms them.
Look at Ruby and David.
It's true.
Yeah, and I mean they touched on that a little bit, like when Emma gave Henry true love's kiss to break the curse and all that. So
a mother's love.
There are many kinds of true love. Let's see here.
Love.
You know, I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it 3, and we'll move on to the next topic if no one else has anything to say. I know we didn't hit everybody, but 3.
I'll
2.
just say who I want really quickly. Who I thought was good, since I think Amy touched upon it, but I would still say I found the White Rabbit and the Mrs. White Rabbit a better couple than the two.
I'm not alone.
I am sorry. I think it's one of the most interesting concepts where you see that level of support. Where the white, I think around the end, what I think I loved about it is like when she's with White Rabbit. I think Mrs. White Rabbit, I think, was finally saved.
Sorry, hold on, guys. Sorry, people who have my Skype thing, I'll call you when we get it ready too, because it's pumping into the Hangout too. So, sorry, go ahead.
I think when I saw the White Rabbit with the Mrs. White Rabbit and that level of support, where she's saying, you know, I'll stay with my mother. Just go and do what you have to do, and that's kind of a good relationship where it makes me curious more about them. So hopefully, at one point we'll get to see them again, since they're the portals.
Right.
Just make the portal so it is. If anybody could travel to time, I think it'll probably be him, or at least who has the potential.
He totally knew what electricity was, so he's obviously been in worlds before that has electricity.
He's a traveler for sure.
He gets around. Travels a little here, a little there. Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, real quick. My synopsis of the two main love stories, Cyrus and Alice, was prim, proper, and vanilla, kind of boring. And the Knave and Anastasia was passionate and sparks and awesome.
Nice.
Okay, with Cyrus and Alice, I actually found that was a love at first sight, and then they're instantly taken apart from each other. And then when they get back together, they're really like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah,
like I really felt like
that's what it felt like.
Yeah, so even by the time they got married, I felt like their relationship hadn't had enough time to really blossom like the Knave and Anna, because they really had time together, get to know each other, while Alice and Will really didn't have that time because they were most of the time they were basically apart.
It's the difference between showing and telling storytelling. Because it's how I feel about Eric and Ariel in the main show, because we're told that they love each other, but we haven't actively seen it really that much. While with like Will and Anastasia and Rumple and Belle, we actively saw them fall in love together.
You guys have caused me to change my mind.
You changed your mind.
Now, Daniel, you're allowed.
Okay, here, guys, if you can stay quiet for a minute, we're going to move on to talk about the villains in just a second. We're going to bring on Tim Peters, who's been a guest of ours before, just to get his basic overview of what he thought of the show. So we're going to call him now. I apologize for the Skype sounds, but I can't find them to turn them off because I'm not wearing my glasses.
Ow!
Let's see if he answers. Yeah, it is kind of loud, huh?
Ow.
Hopefully he'll pick up soon.
Thank God.
Is he going to pick up? Tim? Tim? Hi, Tim. How's it going?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Excellent, excellent. We were gonna you're live on the Google Plus Hangout, and we were just we figured we'd go ahead and pull you in and get your overall impression of the series as a whole. I know you talked to us about, I think, the second or third to last episode a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. What'd you think about the series?
Hey, so I really, really enjoyed Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, as a whole. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
We're here.
Yeah, sorry, you have a little background noise going on, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to listen to the podcast at the same time as I'm
probably have it on there too. Well, you know what, Tim?
Just a second. I'll close. Okay. Just a second. Sorry.
Well, we usually sing on the podcast. Maybe we should sing with.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool.
I don't have the podcast on in the background anymore, so I don't hear two of me. So here's my random first thought. Since I'm on with all of these internet celebrities, I should one day make a Once Upon a Time vlog, and I know what I'll call it. I'll name it after the blind seer because I am a blind Once Upon a Time fan.
Excellent.
You're like your own seer.
Yeah, you've told me before. We've chatted a bit and stuff. They actually do kind of like a audiobook recording over the show.
Yeah, audio described. Yeah, like they have it for other shows. I haven't found it match for this one, but I have hope. Anyways, but Wonderland, yes. So Wonderland, I have a lot of the same opinions as the ones that I've already heard. To add to those opinions, let's see. Oh, you want to know what would have been cool is if the Jabberwocky had interacted with the Cheshire Cat and just ruled the show from the beginning. That's the show that I would have written.
And Cheshire would have been awesome.
Yeah, because the Jabberwocky was kind of feline in her body movement stuff anyway. So they would have been a good match.
But yes, that's my crack ship for Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Okay, Tim,
I'm not even sure what you would call it. Jabbercat. There.
Jabbercat.
The Jabbercat.
The Jabbercat.
All right, Tim. We're gonna let you go now. We're probably gonna have some more guests later on, but we're gonna get back to.
I have one more news. I have news.
Oh yeah,
it's breaking news. NBC is making a Wonderland show, so stay tuned to that in the fall.
Wonderland.
That is very interesting, actually.
Can you send us? Do you have a link to that?
I do have a link. I will email you the link later.
Okay.
Excellent. We'll put that in the show notes for this episode too.
Yeah.
Did they have any info on actors, directors, anything like that?
I'm sure that they do, and I'm sure that if they don't, there will be a Wikipedia page up within like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the way it goes with fall shows.
Tim, we're gonna go ahead and drop you off now. Thank you very much for calling. We'll look for that link. Bye. Yeah, I should be able to get that background noise out too. It sounded like he was by an air conditioner, maybe
a fan.
Like
okay. Keeping comfy. Okay.
Thank you very much, Tim, for calling in, though. Okay, next up, the villains. We have two different main villains, really, and I guess one of them kind of converted towards the end.
Yeah, a little bit.
But basically, Jafar and the Red Queen were the big villains.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about it, and really, it's almost 4 characters for those 2 villains, because the difference between the both of them, between halves of the season, was so stark that I almost feel like we should discuss them as different characters. I know we've come up to them or talked to them about them a little bit already, but you know what? Let's start with Jafar, because I didn't like him very much the first half of the season. Like, what did you guys think of Jafar over there all? And I'll open this up to anyone.
I found Jafar, some of the writing that they did for Jafar to make him funny didn't play out that well, and it took away some of his evilness. Because I really like the way that they tried to make him set to, like, he was pure, like, he had no mercy. He had nothing. The only thing that he wanted to fight for was his daddy's love, and even then, in the end, he went, yeah, whatever. So having some of the really like the lines that he put in that are supposed to be delivered like funny or sarcastic funny or something took away some of that evilness in him, and I didn't like that. If they wouldn't have done it, or if they would have played it a little funnier, I don't know, it would have stayed more of like, oh my goodness, Jafar is like the all bad.
Yeah, they did a lot of like really weird, like ultra dramatic, like dramatic hamster or chipmunk or whatever it was, like pan-ins on him too, which just broke whatever dramatic tension they were trying to build.
Yeah. And don't forget the surfing stance on the carpet the first time.
Oh my goodness!
I looked at that and I said, "Are you kidding me? Seriously, Naveen, you took money for that?"
And he's a good actor.
He's a fantastic actor. That's why I was shocked.
I thought it was kind of cheesy. He was kind of cheesy at the time. And the way they turned him into a genie, to me, was kind of expected, probably because of the Disney movie and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah. The line that I kind of thought of when it happened was that line in the movie, all the cosmic power and all that itty-bitty living space line. That line popped into my head.
I didn't even think about the movie.
It makes me miss the Iago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, see, they could have had Iago for comedic relief instead of having Jafar be his own comedic relief, you know?
Exactly.
Then you have to deal with Godfrey. And how in the heck are you going to convince him to come in? Oh, do you mind me praising this role for Once Upon a Time? And then try to find a parrot that looks kind of like could talk.
Well, I'm sure Gilbert Godfrey could have been...
Or worse, CGI parrot.
Oh, no. Or turn it into a person, a human being, a small little tiny person.
Yes.
A small person.
Or like, seriously, I'm serious. Gilbert Gottfried in like a red jacket.
He needs some work. He needs work.
For me,
oh, go ahead, Hope.
I was just gonna say, Jafar, I feel like I did enjoy him, and it wasn't because of his words and his dialogue. It was because of his actions. I always felt like the stakes around Jafar were always bigger than Once Proper. Because, you know, in Once Proper they had like save Henry, save Storybrooke, but this was, if we don't stop Jafar, he's going to break magic. And minus the finale, because the way they presented it, it felt like it was going to break magic in all the realms and affect millions of lives. So I was upset when it only applied to him and Amara, because I felt like the stakes had been so high the entire show, and then that felt really flat to me. But going back to Jafar, his actions were always brutal. He had probably the highest body count in the show that we've seen, because, you know, Rumpel is several hundred years old. So we've actually physically seen him kill more people than probably anybody else in the show. And I think that's what made him scary, was his actions.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
And to add to that, and the fact that at least with Rumpelstiltskin, at least you could make a deal with this guy. If you don't do what he says, he'll just kill you. That's it.
Yeah.
No other way of describing it. You do what
Tweedle in a box.
Yeah, you just had to kill Tweedles to get ahead.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I am the queen of. I love really corny bad jokes. I have no shame that I just like burst out laughing.
You're punny then.
I am.
Very punny.
Exactly.
I am. My name is Hope. I hope I have a hopefully hopeful day.
The primary difference for me between Rumpel and Jafar, in that they're both, you know, pretty evil characters, is that Rumpel had a really noble reason for being the way he was. He wanted to save his son from, you know, fighting the Ogre Wars, which, and then of course everything he did after that was to bring his son back. So I mean, it was all about his son. It wasn't this, I'm just this whiny little street waif who, my father's the Sultan and he doesn't love me, so I'm gonna wreak revenge on him. I'm like, seriously, dude, grow up a little bit.
Well, his father did kill him and roll him up in a carpet.
Right.
No, he kind of did. Okay, so that
did have that.
When I saw that part, I'm like, okay, now he's not just whiny brat. He's not just a whiny brat. But up until that point, I was like, you were the whiniest little brat. Seriously, you need to get over this.
I wonder.
You're dropping the context there. The context is he was the Sultan, so of course it's okay. It's okay.
Well,
he wasn't his firstborn anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, no, I thought he was.
I think he was older than the other.
He was older than the other, boy.
And he was smarter.
That was the...
Oh,
yeah, he was
smarter.
Did anyone else love the Sultan until he tried to murder Jafar? And then you're just like, I really want to love you, but now I can't.
But see, part of me still did.
I
still love the
If
soup
Wonder
Nazi.
Woman exists,
No, he wasn't the
there's
soup.
there's another person that we don't know about.
I saw him as a redeemable character almost because of what he did. He was trying to make up for it, I guess, a little bit while he was in prison or whatever. Because you know, trying to make it up with Cyrus, I guess, trying to help him out, even though he didn't really do anything for Jafar.
Yeah, and I mean, he was very much angled against Jafar too, which, you know, Jafar is a baddie, so that makes him lovable.
When we're talking about baddies, I have a question then. Like for Jabberwocky, the first time when she was introduced, I was literally scared, and then the episodes after that, it felt like she was just the minion of Jafar. And I know that he had the dagger, and she was seriously believing that he was going to give it back, but all that evilness that I saw in the first episode when she was introduced, it kind of fell flat because of the episodes that followed. What did you guys think?
I had the opposite effect. I thought she just became progressively scarier.
I agree with Hope. She kind of became scarier, but I also think she became forgotten because after she got stabbed to the wall for the final time, we never saw her again, and I kind of wanted to know what happened to her after that. Like, did they free her and use her?
She's kind of scary to free.
Jabbercat.
No, I always questioned why none of these guys knew what the Jabberwocky was. Like, Cyrus and Will had no idea, and Alice was like, seriously, guys, just go read a book. But yeah, they had no idea.
Take a look. It's in a book. Jabberwocky.
Read the Jabberwocky poem.
What's in that magic juice again?
Just coffee and
right. That's
special coffee.
Okay.
And the blood of LeVar Burton.
Oh, wow.
We're casting a dark curse tonight.
Apparently. Wow. Okay, so under villains, we're going to add Bill Meeks.
You know what? I
will be a hero.
I was going to talk about the Red Queen, but she's kind of boring. As far as a villain,
okay.
I think we also have her in the heroes column.
We do have her in the heroes column.
So let's talk about the heroes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, she was a little back and forth.
Yeah, she
was. See, I'm trying to think of someone we haven't talked about too much. You know what? I don't even have it on the notes here. Lizard.
I'll talk about Lizard.
There was a collective inhale.
Yeah. In fact, I think that's all we need to do. I'm going to say Lizard, and then I'm going to leave it to you guys. Go ahead.
I didn't like her at first. I thought her first introduction was probably the worst acting I've ever seen on any TV show. But but the next time, and when she changed and all this, I said, there's a depth to this character, and I was really interested. I wanted to know all the stories before, all their adventures and all that, and then she was gone. And it was like, that's it?
Yeah, let me just tell you, he loved that dress.
I did.
That's really when he fell in love with Lizard. He didn't care for her much before that, but he saw her in the dress and he went, oh, wow, she is such an interesting character. I hope we see more of her.
Okay. There you go.
I'm not going to lie. It was a very pretty dress, and she looked good in it, but yeah, that's my husband.
Plum Queen?
Yeah.
Right. Lizard
I actually
Queen.
thought Lizard was, well, I actually wanted to see the relationship between Lizard and Anastasia, because to me, after she died and Anastasia found her, I felt like they knew each other. But we never actually got to see how they knew each other. But the way Anastasia looked at her when she found her dead, it seemed like, you know, that she was sad, like she lost a friend. Not necessarily, oh, there's just some random dead person where my boyfriend was supposed to be. So that was probably the one thing I really wanted to know about her, was the relationship between those two and how they knew each other.
I think she just had a bigger story overall to tell, we just didn't get.
Her story was very short-lived, definitely.
Right. If there had been a season 2, I would hope that they would have explored that a little further.
Yeah, I just wonder why they didn't credit George R.R. Martin in the writing for that episode, because, you know, they get you to care about him, and they just cut him down at the knees. It's awful.
Well, that's what Gene Espenson does too.
This is very true, except for what is it? Andy Richter controls the universe. There wasn't a lot of that going on there. I actually just found out. I was listening to, I think, Nerdist Writers panel this week, and she actually wrote for that show. If you haven't checked out that show, it's very funny. Has Andy Richter, obviously, but I think it was that one. Or it might have been Andy Barker, PI. I'm completely losing.
That's a great podcast.
It is.
The train has left the station, apparently.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
It's on a different track.
Okay, so-
Yeah.
Okay, this is a normal episode for us.
This
so
really-
completely.
There's a Nerdist Writers panel podcast with Adam and Eddie, and they actually talked a little bit, like about 6 months to a year before Wonderland came, and now we're back on track.
Thank you.
Somebody had to be able to bring it around.
Okay.
I did think it was interesting that they made Lizard, the character of Lizard, a girl. Because in the book, it was a man, and he was like a handyman.
Bill the Lizard.
Bill the Lizard.
But Once tends to do that, though.
They do
Right,
that.
yeah.
That is true. Well,
Jack.
making the Jabberwocky a human being, that was another thing, too.
Well, same as Jack.
Yeah.
I know it's once proper,
Right.
but Jack was a girl, so.
God, where was she in Wonderland? Because she was supposedly slayed the Jabberwocky.
Maybe she was lying.
The whole Jabberwocky thing, Jabberwocky thing, it's a crossover between Walking Dead and Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Oh my god, that's really scary.
Oh, wait. You know that I actually thought that when the zombie army was raised, and I was like, The Walking Dead! That was my first reaction. Sorry, I had to throw it in.
Bring that back.
No.
What was
No
I
more
even saying?
zombies.
I was talking about the Jabberwocky, and
Yes.
I completely. Okay, actually, you know what? I'll say. What do you guys think? Did the Jabberwocky ultimately end up being a hero or a villain?
I kind of felt sorry for her.
A dark, anti-dark kind of gray area.
Like a Punisher kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or Deadpool.
Fair enough.
She was a pawn.
A pawn,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was just a pawn in the game.
But she was also playing her own game. When she was like, I'm not doing the far thing anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little unclear though what her ultimate goal was, because obviously she wanted to have Jafar be far away from that dagger and have her freedom, and she said she would go away, but
I think that was her goal, was to get out of Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was her only goal, was she wanted to move on.
She wanted to look like Daryl Hannah in Blade Runner. That is all.
Well, Jabberwocky basically was the dark one, but like the previous dark one, the controlled dark one. If she would have her own knife or her own dagger, she would be Rumple, basically.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. A female Rumple.
Oh.
She just wanted to curl up in a beam of sunlight with some lasagna and the Cheshire Cat. But unfortunately, that will never happen. Okay, let's see here. Cyrus, and I'll go ahead and extend this to his brothers, too. What did you guys think? Really, that backstory episode. Why didn't they include Aladdin anywhere? That's my big question.
That was my question too.
I think I have an idea why.
Okay.
It depends on context. A lot of times at least with Once Upon a Time, you didn't realize, if you never saw Skin Deep, if they never showed you that episode, you wouldn't, unless you look at the context and some of the storylines, you will never be able to figure out Rumpelstiltskin was the beast. It's the same thing with Aladdin. You have to look at the context of the character to see who matches up with the storyline that they're giving in the Aladdin story.
Okay.
And depending on the version, it could differ. The original Aladdin, was a lazy bum. He was a lazy bum who his mother cried, "Please get a job," every night. The Aladdin in the Disney version was basically a street rat. He never had a lot going for him, except for the fact that he could steal. Nobody's ever offered him a job because he's just that weirdo kid in the corner. So you have to look at who matches up. For the Disney version, the person at least from the show's context, who matches up perfectly would be the Knave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. But it's
But then who's Jasmine?
The Red Queen, obviously.
Like, yeah, I mean, well, I guess.
Yeah, actually, that would make sense because in the movie, Jafar was putting moves on Jasmine too.
Trying to marry her. To put himself in the throne.
Light bulb going on.
I did mention the original version. The original version, it looks like Cyrus is more connected. So it depends on which angle you're going at.
Well, I just kind of had a thought. What if the younger version of Jafar was kind of considered the Aladdin because he was kind of, to me, he looked like the street rat beggar kind of person. So maybe in his younger years he was considered Aladdin, but grew up into Jafar. I mean, it's that whole double character thing that Once kind of tends to do. And
that would make sense for them to make the same person be kind of the hero and the villain.
Yeah.
Aladdin and Jafar's main motivations are both get a genie, or or genie related.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Although one of Cyrus's brothers was a genie of the lamp, so who knows?
The youngest.
If you look very carefully, one of the bottles was actually a lamp, so it is possible there was another Aladdin out there that we haven't seen.
Yeah, so maybe Jafar got that lamp from Aladdin, and that was just a story we never saw, which is a shame. That's true. But then again, they also like to double up thematically and everything on characters too. Okay, let's see here. And I know we had touched on this a little bit, but what did everyone think about Alice overall? I'll just go ahead and lead off with my thoughts. I enjoyed Alice, in a sense, I appreciated sort of the warrior princess kind of Alice thing that they had going on, but I didn't think. They had some examples of it, but I didn't think she was nearly as clever as she was in the books.
Snore.
Okay, Annemarie, how do you? I have no idea.
I never was entertained by her. I wanted to punch her a couple of times because she was being a snotty little brat.
That's pretty extreme.
I did not like Alice from beginning to end.
Like, what didn't you like about her?
She was a snotty little brat, and it felt very self-serving the entire time. She never wanted to help, especially once she got Cyrus back. She could have given a rat's patokas about anybody else.
Yeah, if
he had to say, "No, dear, we're going to help him."
The Knave had to throw her off a cliff.
Okay, no, but Annemarie, no, but the thing was, I actually felt the same way throughout the series, and I was thinking about that this week, and then I got to the point of okay, she went to Wonderland when she was really little. It looked like she'd gone back a few times.
Right.
And when she was telling her dad about it, he never believed it. So she went actually as far as going through to, what was it? She was going to go and get a lobotomy? Was that what she was going to get at the hospital? Basically, just because her entire life, from a little child all the way up to the age that she's now, she was being ignored and not believed.
Right.
So when she finally had the chance to actually go and get what she wanted, she became that. Doesn't take away the fact that I still thought she was a brat while she was doing it. However, while thinking through that, I thought it was a little bit more expected for her, because she was like, nobody ever believed me. I'm on my own. Forget everything. I'm going to go after what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. She just I don't know. She just felt she felt boring to me. She actually didn't feel like she had very much to her.
I don't think the character so much is the problem. I'm sorry to say that. I unfortunately think that it was the casting choice for me, anyway.
I was really excited from the beginning.
Lowe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, she's a very lovely girl, and I'm sure she's a very sweet girl, but the fact is that she was not Alice for me. She didn't play because Alice did have that fierce warrior spirit, and she did, have that passion of, why doesn't anybody believe me? Why can't I get that? And we just didn't see that come through. I don't know what it was about Sophie, but it didn't work.
Something was missing.
And honestly, the first couple of episodes, she mumbled so much. I was like, what in the heck did she just say?
Bloody
Did anybody else have that problem?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I like different parts of her. I mean, some of it was, I guess for me, it was personality issues. I liked her less the second half once she and Cyrus got back together.
Yeah.
Because especially when he said you need to trust the Red Queen, we're gonna go help her, like in that very beginning, and she was like, no, I don't trust her. And I was just thinking, well, if you don't have to trust her, but you have to trust him because he does trust her.
Right.
And that was my big issue with her, was just the fact that to me it seemed like she didn't trust him after all that. After all of that, she did not trust him or trust his judgment on who to trust, I guess.
And I think that ties back very well with what somebody said earlier about the relationship, that their love was a love at first sight, and then they really didn't have a whole lot of time to get to know each other very well before they were separated.
Right.
So it does highlight, and then that's what I felt even on the second half, was that their relationship took a little bit of a battering because they were so new at this relationship, technically.
They
hadn't developed it.
They still were really new at it when they got married.
Yeah. Yeah, they were.
They don't know each other, like,
Nope.
at all.
Yeah.
Nope, not really.
That's why I was kind of rooting for Knave and Alice, because they actually knew each other. And they were actually best friends, and they kind of knew each other, so I could have saw them getting together more, I guess, than I could Alice and Cyrus.
Yeah, but can you imagine if they did get together? Now they're bringing him over to Wonderland. Do we really want her in Wonderland? I mean, in Storybrooke?
No.
She needs to stay in Wonderland.
She'd be messing with the refrigerator all day.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Get her a job at Granny's serving hot chocolate with.
Oh, I wonder how she'll react
Yeah,
to
the outfit Ruby is wearing, no thanks.
Yeah, it kind of felt their relationship the second half of the season kind of felt almost like, what if the lights came back on and after the end scene of Romeo and Juliet and they happened to survive? Like, oh, hi. I was willing to kill myself, but you're alive. Hi.
What do I do?
Yeah.
It was very awkward. It was very awkward.
Right. Okay.
I actually thought they were going to split up. I was kind of rooting for that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it kind of felt like almost like when you're in a long distance relationship and you haven't seen a person for that long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the beginning, I liked how they were kind of getting to know each other, but it was sort of like I was hoping that they would see that it just wasn't working and they would be incredibly good friends.
Yeah.
And then she would go and take off with Will.
Only if Anastasia stayed dead for more than a day.
Or the Cheshire Cat. I'm trying to pair everyone up with the Cheshire Cat tonight.
Is he your best guess?
Okay, let's see here. We'll go ahead and move on. And I think what we're going to do here is we're going to just move straight down the line. If a discussion pops up, I'm not going to kill it. But I don't know.
We're going to move down the line.
Yeah, there was an awkward pause there.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite moment, and we'll just go ahead and go down the line, starting with Annemarie. Favorite moment of the series as a whole.
I actually thought about that before you wrote it down. My favorite moment was the fairy and her interaction with Will.
Yeah.
It was just priceless. I loved it. And he was like, I dislike water, and he just still went with her. You could just see it coming from a mile away, and she just drops them. And I thought it was priceless. We kind of got the gist of what happened between the two of them. I wish we'd known a little bit more, but I know time-wise they couldn't do that. But that was just amazing. I loved it.
Oh, definitely. And me and Annemarie were rewatching that episode today, and we realized Alice was like very threatening to that turtle for no reason to the mock turtle.
She's like, you will do it, I say. I'm like I just stabbed it. It would have gone. It's a turtle.
Yeah, you probably could have asked nicely. For goodness
It's a turtle.
Put like a little carrot on a string.
I know, that would have been better than a knife to the throat.
Yeah, she was like, take us or die, turtle. All right, Amy, what was your favorite moment of the series?
Well, I'm a Robin Hood fan. I've always been a Robin Hood fan. I've always liked any sort of movie, TV show dealing with Robin Hood. So the fact that they were able to cross him over to the show and make Will Scarlet kind of made me happy. Mm-hmm. My other favorite was Cora, how they were able to bring her in and how, she was the one who took Will's heart and how she was actually involved in the fact that Will and Anna weren't together. Because they could have been together since she was leaving to go meet him at some point, but then Cora stepped in, and I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that no one else I could have been wrong, but I don't remember them actually bringing it up after it happened at some point.
Core is always about the deep-seated manipulation stuff for sure. Okay, Bobby, what was your favorite moment of the series?
I liked the few moments, although I agree with you that Alice wasn't great as a whole. I liked the few moments that she did get to shine. Sorry, specifically the first season, mostly comprised of the 20 minutes that was like the quote-unquote pilot with her breaking out of the prison and whatnot. I also like the reconciliation with her father, because I've always been that, like, daddy. I've Field of Dreams, I cry every time I see the movie. So I've always, that's always been a soft spot in my heart. I guess that's it, really. And anytime the Knave got to show his knowledge of the modern world, like mentioning Care Bears and...
Yeah.
What's a Care Bear? Never mind.
You know, one thing with the Knave, he could have said bloody hell a few more times in the show.
I agree.
Bloody hell.
They just didn't let him say that enough.
They dropped off towards the end there, though.
It did.
That's probably because we all pointed it out.
I feel like it could have been a drinking game. Like how many take a sip every time.
If you want to die, it could have been a drinking game.
I'd already be on board by now since I watched the first
whole season, yeah.
Watch it at 2 times speed, so yeah, no, that would be awesome. Okay, Daniel, what was your favorite moment of the series?
Cora. I tried to stay spoiler-free in watching both shows, and so I had heard that Barbara Hershey would be on the show at some point, but I didn't know when that was. So when it showed up, I was thrilled, and in my notes, every time I typed her name, it was all caps. I was just so excited to see Cora in the episode. And then that same episode was also when we went back to Storybrooke from Wonderland, which I loved that and all of those connections. But since those have already been kind of mentioned, my other favorite moment was learning who Anastasia really was.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was kind of a surprise too, because at first you thought she was just going to be, her and Jafar were like generic villain duo,
right?
But then when you realize she has a personal connection to your favorite character, because everyone's favorite character was Will, I'm assuming.
It seemed it.
Yeah, but it just brought a whole new dimension to her, and like I said, going back and rewatching it after the fact, you can definitely kind of see that she's working with the Cade there too. Which is interesting. Okay, Wynn, what was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment when Jafar freed the Jabberwocky and she immediately got into his head and tormented him with the memories of his near drowning. Because I loved that threw him off his game, but at the same time he immediately bounced back from that and just became as evil as he could possibly be through the rest of the series.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
Good. Okay, let's see, Hope. What was your favorite moment?
Probably a toss-up between Will trying to figure out the Carpenter, and the whole time he was just like, what is going on? And then probably my other favorite line, I laughed so hard that I had to actually pause because I was laughing so hard, was when Will first gets freed by Lizard, and he's like, Mistress mine, my will be done, give me your wishes 3. Bollocks! Like, I still laugh just thinking about it. Like, pretty much any time Will opened his mouth and a one-liner came out, I loved it.
Yeah, he's definitely the king of the one-liner. He's the Knave of Hearts, the king of the one-liners.
I can't wait to see him with some of the other sassy characters like Hook or Rumple, and just see them just have a one-liner off.
Yeah, like him and Hawke are gonna have such a interesting.
That's gonna be amazing.
Magic comes with a price, dearie. Bloody hell. All right, Jeff and Colleen, what were your favorite moments?
Well, I'm kind of with Bobby here, and I love the reconciliation. We don't see a lot of that in Once Upon a Time normally, but I love that scene, and I also love the noble scenes when Will was noble, and it was just so amazing. I also love the scene with Jafar and his father, when his father and he were redeemed at the end, and then of course Jafar just ruined it. But it was just those moments are my favorite. So
For me, any scene that Will was in was awesome, just because he was fantastic. But specifically, my favorite was when he sacrificed himself to make sure that Alice didn't die.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was my absolute favorite scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He sacrificed himself for her, which was awesome, considering she didn't really deserve it at that point. That was my pick. But anyway.
Okay, and Patty, we'll end with you. Well, I'm going to ask Annemarie too. But go ahead, Patty.
I think it's a toss-up between two scenes. The first scene, I think both of them, my favorites have already been mentioned, so I guess I'm just re-mentioning it and not going into much detail. The first is when the Knave does make the wish to free Alice of the curse, so that way she lives even though he's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
I found that to be a pretty good scene. And the other one is Silver Mist dropping him in the water. Dropping him.
Yeah.
I just hope we get to see. I do see some funny scenes from the Tinkerbell one that I found online, and I usually find Rosetta there, so I'm wondering where the heck she is, since she's hilarious in those.
Right.
But yeah, just dropping him and, oh yeah, you dumped me. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna screw you now.
Everybody likes to see a bad guy got. Okay, Annemarie, we'll end with you. What was your favorite moment? Well, I'll do one too. Go ahead.
Oh, are you good?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, because I've been a big fan of many of the things like the Cora and all that, but probably Will and Anastasia's kiss when he got his heart back. And the slow motiony around,
spin
and
around.
it's just us, basically, and then drama. But that kiss was really nice.
Yes, it was. And to match with you, my favorite moment of the series
was when his heart was ripped out.
No, anytime Jafar and the Red Queen made out, it did not gross me out at all. And I was completely fine with it, and I loved it. And I'm being completely sarcastic.
I think that kind of summed it up for all of us.
Yeah, because we were going to have to take your once card away.
My once card.
It's better than the Disney version where Jasmine is making out with Jafar.
Yeah. Ew.
So gross.
So many kinds of ew.
The only thing that would be grosser is Jafar making out with the Cheshire cat.
So the cat is now the thing. The cat.
You gotta have something.
All right, and we'll end it here. And Daniel added this point, which I think is very relevant. Most people who listen to the podcast know me and Anne-Marie's ideas on this, but I'll throw it out to all of you. If they did another Once Upon a Time spin-off series, what would you like to see?
More Neverland.
More Neverland? Yeah, that's been our answer. Is we'd like a Neverland prequel with Captain Hook and Peter Pan and Bay,
Young Bay,
Tinkerbell.
Young Bay.
We want the season. We want the season finale of it to be when Henry lands.
Yeah.
We want it to end where we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they better get started working on that. No, seriously, if you think about it, because the kids that play the teenagers and the young kids, they're going to be too old by the time it happens.
Thankfully, they really only need the two.
Yeah.
They really only need the two, and I think they're old enough that they're not going to go through some crazy change, hopefully.
Well, if they can make Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and X-Men look younger than they were, I'm sure it would be easier with children, right?
I have a different answer.
Maybe.
Okay. Patty, go ahead.
I don't actually want to see more of Neverland or Wonderland or even Oz, because I think they are being covered. And if you do cover it in, like, let's say Neverland, you're never going to be able to cover it in Once Upon a Time, which means Hook is out for Hook is no longer useful for the show, because you can actually see it through Hook's point of view already in Once Upon a Time. I want a different land, a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we have not seen, like maybe Camelot, where they have been hinting at it, but we're probably not going to see it on the show, but maybe that'll make a good spin-off instead.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I
I would like to see a land where they address like more of the minor fairy tales, and so it's like an enchanted forest type land that they have, but more of the minor characters maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know. I've been reading who's the book by the actor that plays Kurt Hummel in Glee. he wrote a book, and it's basically like you've got Red Riding Hood Land and Sleeping Beauty Land, but they're addressing a lot more of the minor characters in that sense. But I guess you would get more into having a second Once Upon a Time.
You know what would be kind of cool too is to have kind of a Mother Goose Land where it was all the nursery rhymes.
Oh.
You know, like Jack Sprat. And...
Well, David does make the quote in Broken about like if you want to go live in your shoe, you can.
Yes.
You know, Humpty Dumpty exists. Good Morning Storybrooke actually did a story where Humpty Dumpty got crack.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I saw that one.
We just need a Good Morning Storybrooke Land.
Yes.
There you go.
That one I would love to see.
I'm voting for the Mother Goose Land. I like that idea a lot.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That would be...
Ready to. That sounds great.
I know one of my big theories about Once is I think that Jefferson and Will have actually been world hopping since they were teenagers. And like I would love to have a spinoff where it's them just exploring all the doors in Jefferson's hat. And that's and that way like we could see like behind the scenes of Once proper, but from like different people's point of views through each and every door and how they're actually connected.
Yeah, so it's a little Doctor Who, and he just needs a companion.
Yeah, I mean, I also argue that Jefferson and Will are the two most groundbreaking characters that are never used, and we would not have Neverland season 3 without them. Like, but I'll tell you,
it's kind of like The Lion King 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like Back to the Future too, where he's crawling on the lighting grid while he's down playing on the stage, kind of thing.
Yeah, the Rose and Kritz and Guildenstern of dead of Once Upon a Time. And that way Sebastian Stan can actually get his spinoff.
Why am I all of a sudden thinking Once Upon a Time in the Savannah?
Nice.
Once Upon a Time in the Marvel.
Lion King.
Once Upon a Time in Star Wars.
I'm going to disagree here with
everyone.
With everyone, yeah. I don't want to see another spinoff. What I'd rather them do is focus all of their attention on the one show and make it really good. Now, I do think that they have made season 3 really good, but imagine how much better it could have been if they focused all of their attention on season 3.
Yeah.
And if they want to visit these other worlds, to visit those in Once Upon a Time proper, like they did with Neverland, like they're doing now with Oz, kind of, maybe-ish. But the thing with Wonderland was they went there in 2 episodes. And so they realized there could be some extra story to tell there, and that was cool. But also from the perspective of a podcaster, I feel kind of obligated that if they do a spinoff to do another series of our podcast about the spinoff, and I don't really want to do that, so I want ABC to make the decision easier for me by not doing another spinoff.
Yeah, see, we ended up getting used to doing 2 a week, which is why we're going to do the new one.
The Batman one.
But yeah, we didn't want to do that first necessarily, but I guess we have to.
But there was no way to cover it in like a part of our episode. Because we knew it was either going to be feast or famine. We either knew it was going to be amazing, and then we'd have these 2-hour-long podcasts where I'd want to like stab myself the next morning trying to go to work, or it would be 10 minutes, but it wouldn't be consistent. So we're like, all right, we'll suck it up and do a second episode.
Now, I'm kind of in the realm with Daniel that something I've been really hoping they would do is more webisodes, to where it's like a focus on all the minor characters they haven't really gotten a touch on, because something that Lost did really well is they had like all these like Easter egg websites and all these like behind the scenes stuff that was going on, and you had to like browse into it. But Once really doesn't have that. So I've been hoping they would do something sort of to help show more about what was going on in this world, since they don't have time in the main show. So that's something else I've been kind of arguing for a while.
That would be fantastic to do over the summer break.
Yeah.
Yes. They have been coming out with more Storybrooke, or this Good Morning Storybrooke episodes.
Yeah.
Those have been hilarious too.
It's something with like actual character development and plot.
Bring back Golden Loxley or Goldilocks.
Oh,
yeah.
Goldie and Heart, I love them.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, his heart is arrows from the Greek god.
Oh.
Okay, guys, I think we've been going a little over an hour and a half. Yeah, so I think we should probably finish up. We usually end these is I come up with an arbitrary scale, which basically I come up with some random number, some random thing, and we rate based on those things. Okay, so we're gonna do it for the entire series of Once Wonderland.
Good luck.
Okay, so out of 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings, how many Cheshire Cat pairings would you give this episode? We'll start with Annemarie.
I mean, you have to know. Oh, come on.
It's the curse of the A.
Yeah, thanks.
Scarlet letter.
Okay, 57 is what you said, right?
57.
Yeah, 57.
See, I always have to remind myself as well because he comes up with these ridiculous numbers. It's never
Well,
like
it's not
10.
too bad today. It's not too bad
That's
today.
true.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not 4 digits.
42 and a Cheshire Cat smile.
Why?
Okay, I was really hyped up about it, like about the series over the summer, and then it started, and it took too long for me to get into it, and so it would have been a lot lower rating for the first half, but then the second half kicked off, and it was really, really great. So the smile comes for Lizard because she did not get enough time.
Nice. Okay, Annemarie, actually, where can people find you online? We'll go ahead and do that while we're finishing up here.
On Twitter, I'm N_Ann_Lee. I'm not super active on Twitter. I'm more on Facebook, to be honest, but that's my handle on Twitter.
Okay, great. Okay, now Amy, out of 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings, how many Cheshire Cat pairings would you give this episode?
I guess 45 and a cat head.
Oh, and a cat head.
A cat head. Excellent. So that's like 1/5 of it. Something. I don't know. Go ahead. Why?
I think it's like what Annemarie said. It took too long for me to actually get into it. I like the second half more than I actually did the first. And again, so I mean, and like Annemarie always says, it's room for improvement, which I guess would be room for a lot of improvement.
Yes.
So yeah, that's would be why.
Excellent. Okay, Bobby, 57.
You're not going to let her say where people can get a hold of her?
Oh, you know what? You're completely right. Where can people get a hold of you online?
You're welcome.
I'm kind of active on Twitter, Amy1102. I also have a Tumblr, which I'm kind of trying to revive.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's a library of a bookworm. It's mostly book, movie stuff, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So Dog Boy's up on your
it could be.
Tumblr?
If only you knew someone who could get you free copies of stuff. Okay.
Hey, Bill, we should talk.
You have my email. Okay, Bobby, out of 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings, how many Cheshire Cat pairings would you give this episode?
It probably went up on the second viewing. I'd probably say 50.
50.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the episode, the series as a whole, but the inconsistencies with Amara and a few other things is what knocked off those 6 points.
Fair enough. Okay, and where can people find you online, Bobby?
At Inevitable Hawke. Hawke is with an E, and then...
That was it, at Inevitable Hawke, right? You cut out a little bit.
I'm sorry, yeah, at Inevitable Hawke with an E at the end of the Hawke. And then, of course, calling into every episode of any podcast.
I'm so sad that no one's gone, Bobby!
Bobby!
Okay, Daniel, out of 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings, how many Cheshire Cat pairings would you give this series?
I would say 42 3/4.
3/4. Why? So the Cheshire Cat's getting paired with the dwarf now. Go ahead.
Well, I think as a standalone series, this was a lot of fun. It was great that they gave us a full story in 13 episodes, but there were a lot of things that I felt like they could have done better. They could have told the story better in the beginning. They could have timed everything better like they originally said they were going to do. And some of the acting in the beginning was a bit weak, like Jafar's character, hard to believe at the beginning. So that's why I'm putting it in the I like it stage, but it's not amazing. So yeah, I would say 42 3/4. And I'm Daniel J. Lewis, and you can find me at oncepodcast.com or wonderlandpodcast.com, or on Twitter. Follow our main account, which is Once Podcast.
Excellent. Okay, Wynn, you know the scale. It's out of 57. What do you give it?
Well, I'm pretty close to Daniel. I'm going to give it 41 and a whisker, and that's basically on the strength of the Knave. He was a great character, and I think he made the show. I've given it higher, except for that terrible scene where the Knave and Alice actually catapulted away from his execution. That was like the worst point of the show for me. And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Wynn Mercere, and I also have Tumblr.
Excellent. Okay, Hope, out of 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings, not including Jefferson or Whale.
You're putting restrictions on the poor girl.
Well, that would be 59, because I already had 57 specific characters in my head.
You're so lucky this isn't my show, because I was about to say something very not safe for work. Now, I would give it, I like the 47 and a vanishing smile. I really enjoyed it as a whole. The second half was definitely much better. I'm happy that we're going to be getting what's his butt, Michael Socha on the main show. And there's a lot of parts I liked, a lot of parts I disliked, and a lot of unanswered questions. Like, I still wondered about the whole thing with Alice's stepmom. I felt like that was something that just never got brought back in. Yeah. But and the vanishing smile is because it's over when we've all finally started to like it.
Yeah, so. This is very true. And where can people find you online, Hope?
I have a podcast called Hope of All Trades. You guys have been on it with me, and I thank you again for that. It was so much fun. It is not safe for work, by the way.
Longer than this podcast.
Yeah.
I should have been drinking coffee that night since I fell asleep.
No, but it's Hope of All Trades. I'm at Hope Mullinax on Twitter, and I forgot to mention at the beginning, I have a Once Upon a Time blog called onceuponanobsession.tumblr.com. And Wynn and I are totally buddies on that. High five, Wynn.
Nice. Okay, Jeff and Colleen, 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings. Those are your numbers. What's your score?
31 and lizard in a dress. And
I was expecting that to be your favorite part of the show.
Sure. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I didn't like it as much as I really wanted to. I liked the beginning with Alice in the asylum. I thought that was kind of a crazy twist, like what was that Wizard of Oz sequel thing? I thought it was going to go
Return to Oz.
Right.
Return to Oz.
I thought it was going to kind of go there, but it didn't. And the second half of the season was better, but I just didn't. I wanted to, but I just didn't. So, Colleen?
I would have to give it 40 and a wish. Because I liked it, didn't love it until the end. There were too many things in the first half that kind of brought the score down a little bit. Mm-hmm. But there were things that did raise the score, especially, it was dark. It was way darker than I would have expected. Yep. Definitely not kid-friendly in my opinion. I loved the Knave, and really loved him and Anastasia, and I actually am looking forward to seeing more of them. So that's my wish, is that we get to see the two of them more. And even though Jafar was really evil, I kind of want to see him too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You can find us here. We're going to stay here forever. We do our jobs. So if you want to ask us something,
they will be on this Google Plus for the rest of eternity.
Right.
Yeah.
I love you, Annemarie. I love your mic top. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
I know.
That's actually from the Cheshire Cat. Believe it or not.
No, where can they find us online, sweetie?
Okay. We hope. Besides this being on here, we host this podcast, Once Upon a Time Fan Podcast, at onceuponatimepodcast.com.
On Twitter, it is.
On Twitter, it's at OUAT Podcast.
Okay. And I'm mostly on Facebook. I have a Twitter account, but I don't go there very much anymore. I'm really on Facebook mostly.
Excellent. So just search for Colleen on Facebook.
You'll get one comment. There's only one.
There's only one. It's only me. No, it's Colleen Robinson Roney.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And Patty, out of 57 possible Cheshire Cat pairings, what's your number?
I'm gonna give it. It's probably the lowest score here, but 28 cats and half a cat. But that's just because I stopped seeing it after 3 episodes and didn't continue until the season mid-season finale, and I had to take that into account. If it wasn't for that, it would have been a bit higher. But I do have to consider the first half. You had to be dedicated to, or at least to watch it.
Yeah.
And I think some of you, at least, I don't know who mentioned it, but that you had obligated to see it, and that you said if it kept going the way it was, you would have stopped.
Yeah.
So I do have to really take the entire season into account, and it was good all around the end, but the beginning, it felt dragged a bit.
Definitely. And where can people find you online?
Twitter at stage_of_earth, or you could also find me in Tumblr, which is probably where I will probably best answer you, since I don't go on Twitter that much.
Is there a number or an address for that Tumblr?
Probably in the note.
Hold on. Stage-Earth.
Excellent. Okay, and Annemarie.
Hi.
You're out of 57 Cheshire Cat pairings. How many Cheshire Cat pairings would you give this episode or the series?
35 and a catnip ball.
Why? And that's going to make the Cheshire Cat very friendly. I have to warn you. The mic top makes it though. He's all furry.
I crossed the crazy line. No. Okay. All 35 points are for the name. That's really if he wouldn't have crossed over, this would have been a complete wash for me. I could have done without Alice and Cyrus. I kind of like the rabbit, but it was all the name for me.
Okay, and where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at amdsimone, and I have a blog, crunchy, crafty, and highly caffeinated.wordpress.com, and I'm currently giving away coffee if you go in and enter Wynn over there. Yes. Look, she's like, I'm typing now.
Oh my God.
I only have 3 people who've entered, and one of them is Wynn. So, that coffee looks amazing.
It's on Wynn.
It's good. It really.
It looks really good, and I'm gonna have to try it. So yeah, that's where I reside. Now you, Mr. Bill Meeks, how many?
I hit my mic.
You need one to meow at too. Meow.
Okay, so you want me to do my arbitrary scale, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay, out of 57 possible pairings for the Cheshire Cat, I'm going to give it 30. It was a little uneven, really like the Knave, but the thing that cost it those 27 points I took off of it is this pose from Jafar. And as for where you can find me online, you can find me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. Google Plus is google.com/+BillMeeks. And I write stories about superheroes, books, and there's also an audiobook on Audible now. You can find information about all of that at dogboyadventures.com and in a couple weeks at legendsofgotham.com, but there's not a website there.
There's not a website. So there's a you can't have this, somebody owns it.
Yeah.
That's all that's
So just follow the Twitter at Legends of Gotham for more info on that. Well, I guess that's it, right?
Anybody got any last minute things?
Any last minute business?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. This has been fun.
Thank you guys for showing up to our party. This is completely different than how it went down in high school for both of us.
Me too.
All right, so okay.
Actually, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
So, is this something that you two enjoyed that you wouldn't mind doing in the future? Because I think that you guys have actually had, you guys had an incredibly successful roundtable. So, are you guys going to continue doing this in the future?
I could see that happening.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it every week necessarily.
No.
But
I don't want to wear makeup every week to
like,
record.
I can see like a season.
Girl, I totally put on makeup.
I put on makeup too right here. I had a blemish.
There's like a thing growing out of his face. Oh.
It's a forget me not. I was trying to tie it back into the episode.
It was horrible. Yes, Hope, we'll do this again.
Yes.
I don't know when. I believe Mr. Daniel has at least one coming up here, right?
Yeah, you were going to try and
this summer
one towards the end, right?
Yeah, after season 3 of Once Upon a Time is over, we'll have one with all of the podcasters.
Yep, I was about to say, I feel like I've seen something somewhere. But we'll probably do something over the summer since, we'll have nothing else to do.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
I think
no.
go ahead.
Wait, and then how about for the podcast for Wonderland, you guys have had guests on.
Yes.
How did you enjoy doing that? Because you don't do that for the regular one.
Oh,
It's been an interesting experiment.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
I liked it, and it kept us honest.
Mm-hmm.
It kept us, no, really, you have to record it this time. There's somebody else already committed and who's changed their plans.
Sometimes with the main show, it can float like a day if circumstances allow, which we hate to do,
Right, and that's why we permanently moved it a day.
But no,
I
really don't think we've had a bad guest, though. Like,
no, our
everyone's
guests have been amazing.
Great, especially all the ones that are here right now and can yell at us. You guys were all great. And definitely something we'll keep in mind, and definitely for Legends of Gotham, too. We'll take it until the show starts, we're going to be doing guests every time, I think, probably. Mm-hmm. The problem is when we have guests, just because of the technical setup, we haven't been able to be in the same room.
Right.
When is it going to be on? Legends of Gotham, because I'm actually interested in seeing how Alfred is.
It's going to be in the fall, so that we don't know what day it records.
The show will be on in the fall. We're going to be starting the podcast here in a couple of weeks. We're probably going to start with Batman Year One, the animated movie.
Oh, that's
covering that.
So, I have to do research.
Since that's very cool.
Oh, same here, Annemarie.
Research things.
Wikipedia. Seriously, DC Wikipedia, they sometimes have an entire list from front to current about the entire Batman history, post and pre-52.
I like it.
Nice.
Oh, 52.
Oh, the 52.
Oh, remember the 52.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
Yeah, we should probably we're going to wrap this up here. It's been an extra long episode, but extra fun.
Yes.
With guests. But this is the first time we've ever actually done a Wonderland episode being in
person.
The same room. So I think we're finally going to nail the ending, right? Okay. I'm going to give the 3 count and
join us.
We're going to go 3, 2, 1. Until next time.
Greetings,
Land.
Wonderbrook. It will always be
I felt it.
Wonderbrook. It's like Wonder Bread. I can't help it.